You're watching the TCMMA podcast.
Speaking of a guy that's going to have to fight up is Jorge Masvidal. He's assuring everyone he's coming back, making a UFC return, but he's got like 3 boxing fights first. But saying, I'm definitely coming back. Like, what are you talking about, man? The thing with the UFC that you got to be really careful of is when you step away and come back, it's not the same as when you left. This thing is getting better fast. Like, imagine 90s, 2000s NFL. You're like, oh, I'll come back in 3 years. You might get a diamond in the rough that could do it, but if a guy steps away and comes back in 3 years, he's not going to be as fast. All the youth coming underneath of him is coming in even faster. It's rapidly getting better. The UFC is in the early stages of, it hasn't reached max capacity as far as fighting ability. Right? In terms of that, this is like, right now, the UFC is like 1930s boxing. Like, the place is packed and everyone's going crazy, but the fighters are going to, you know, we're going to head towards the Ali of the 60s and 70s and the Mike Tysons of the 90s and just skipping through everything, and Hearns and Hagler, and like, we're headed towards all that. And it just continues to get better, and it will until it reaches its peak, you know, when it just becomes circular like any other sport. But the UFC is on the rise right now, and you can't just step away for 3 years and come back. That's why McGregor's having trouble. Jorge Masvidal would definitely have trouble because he's doing it at a later age. At least McGregor's like, what, 34, 35? He's got some time. But it had to be a major commitment and turnaround, and I don't know if any of these older guys are capable of doing that. And I don't know. Yeah, everyone wants to see McGregor fight. I do too. I'm not going to, you know, if you tune in that night, I'm going to be going crazy. But at the same time, we're starting to get more push towards actual titles. We want to see who's going to fight for the title. The attention is turning up top, and eventually these names aren't going to be as big. Right now it is. It's just Conor McGregor. But to me, it's not going to be as big as time goes forward. It's going to be more about titles, not necessarily the names. Not necessarily the names. It's going to be more about who's fighting next for the title. And you're already seeing that shift. But a lot of these older guys that won and left and came back, and, you know, it's good for the UFC, right? Because you want McGregor in there. But as attention shifts towards the titles, you're going to limit the McGregors and the Masvidals. And this is why they're telling Mike Perry, too, like, you're not beating top 5 guys. I believe it was Mike Perry that told this too, or somewhere along those lines. And it's like, nobody's lying. No disrespect, but when you leave the UFC right now, it doesn't matter who it is, the name doesn't matter, and you try to come back, it's guys are getting stronger, they're getting faster, they have better technique in every area, wrestling, kickboxing, striking, whatever, like takedown defense, everybody is getting better. And the next, you know, year of youth, well, it's constant in the UFC, but every year, the new fighters that keep being added to the UFC through Contender Series, through regional MMA, you can't leave for 3 years and come back and just think, okay, my name is Mike Perry, or my name is Conor McGregor or Jorge Masvidal, and think, hey, I'm just going to still dominate. Like, it's just 3 years later, you got to be coming back with your eyes wide open, because it feels like 10 years from, if you go in the past, it took 10 years to make this much improvement as it does now. Every 3 years is a lot. A lot. The level of fighter is changing. It's getting better very rapidly.
He's gonna fight, wait, he's gonna fight, wait, hold your breath till the end of the night. Last fighter call, UFC at its height, yeah. Bringing that thunder with all his might, saying step up, wanna fight, hold up, think twice, gladiator, assassin, reckless, no abandon, walk through that cage, he'll leave your ass